Okay, folks, good morning. All right, we got to clean this area up. This is a mess over here. Messy, messy, messy. All right, let's put the green away. Put the red, even if I'm going to pull these colors way down immediately. Got a gray, it's going to go over here. Can't stand a messy work area. It's distracting. And you're like, where is it? Where is it? And it's right in front of you, you know? It's like maddening. Getting locked in a... People complain about getting locked in a room that's like all white and there's nothing in it. It'd be worse to be locked up in a room that's just clutter. Well, maybe it wouldn't be so boring, but... How long are we going to be locked in there for? Just a few moments. I like one that's doesn't have a lot in it. Yeah, I just saw a post this morning. I saw a post about somebody that made I'm not going to name anybody, but a post that somebody made about a hobby topic, and I saw the area they were playing in. And man, their house is upside down. Like, I don't want to look at that thing. That's uncomforting. All right, let's put all these guys together. I'm not going to hide them. We use them all the time. Let's just find some of this shit. Here we go. These lottos over here. Yeah, the rest... Why do we have all this stuff out here? It should be put away in the... Let's just get it here out of the common. Everything piles up over here. Okay, what's up, Ben? Your place isn't upside down, is it? If it is, well... I mean, our house was never really upside down or anything. We could always, we got parts of the house that end up collecting clutter. Like if you've got like a central area where, the keys are there, you put your wallet there, just little things that they just start taking over. Got another ammo here for this. But I remember wanting to go visit these folks' house that we knew people that they knew. And they have this house, and they were older. They were, I don't know, 10, 12 years older than us. Nothing, ancient or anything. Nothing non-achievable. And we walk into their house, and their house is like a showroom house. I'm not saying it was super expensive, although it was nice. But just everything had a place. Like they were getting ready for an open house. And I'm like, that's what we want. Because it just like brings mind at ease. So this gets cluttery too, but it's probably to the point where I'm probably at some point this weekend I'm going to put all this stuff away. And that's what I do is I go grab something and I put it right here, and I put it right here, and I put it right here. The next thing you know, you're shuffling things around and you can't find stuff. Same thing with this, right? It's a piece of cardboard, but like this paint that I put on it and stuff, like it's distracting. I don't have ADD or anything, but I'm not more OCD than ADD. But it just gets distracted and you make mistakes and things like that, Your Zvezda stuff arrived yesterday. You built up 3 BT7s. The Zvezda plastic is a little weird in how it takes brush-on primer compared to the PSC plastic. No, it's not criminal enough to go to Australia. Okay. Hello, you must be going. I cannot stay. I came to say I must be going. I'm glad I came. I just must be going after work. Okay. Say hi to Alice for me. Working on Saturday. We have a name for people like you. We call them Mitches. I hope you get 2 days off in a row, whatever they may be. I enjoy being, off like white collar people. Actually, white collar people probably work every freaking day of the week. I don't want to be one of them. I like my Saturdays and Sundays off. The Sundays are better than they used to be, because they used to be when I was growing up. Sunday there wasn't anything to do other than watch the 700 Club, go to church, get buried. What else? That's about it. There wasn't anything else to do. Upside down hobby space. Oh yeah, everything's upside down. Well, you know what's even worse about Australia? Technically, if everything in Australia is upside down, they are, or it's not really upside down, but an inversion of it. They actually drive on the correct side of the road then, don't they? Think about something. Do more people in the southern hemisphere drive on the British side of the road than in the north? Probably not. Because the north has what? Britain? Several islands in the Caribbean. Ireland. Somehow they got suckered into that. I would have thought the Irish would have been like, the British do it this way, we're not doing it that way. No one else in Europe. Even places Napoleon didn't even have to conquer, don't even do it. Yeah, I think it's Britain and Europe only, and Ireland. Some Caribbean islands. That's the funny thing is, nobody drives on the British side of the road that the British didn't conquer. Japan. Never mind. Never mind. That might be the exception. Every place was a place that the British conquered. That civilized them. There were savages pulling goats or something, and then the British showed up and it's like, how about an automobile? That's before that. So back to Zvezda. I have several Zvezda things. I have a couple of Panthers that I built, and I don't remember their plastic being bad. Their instructions are fuckery. Really, if you're from Eastern Europe, I don't mean to offend you, but you guys don't know how to do instructions. Hey, we don't know how to build automobiles here in the United States, so you can call it a wash, but Eastern Europe does not know how to build proper instructions on model kits. They are not user friendly. Their instructions, they're not terrible, but they're a little wonkish. They have a thing about not giving you hatches that open. Like, what's the deal? I think my Panthers have hatches that don't open. I can't make the hatches on the Panther open on it. At least the cursed Panthers that I have, they don't open. I don't mean all the hatches. I'm talking about the commander's hatch. Nobody's gonna have we only have one hatch open. Who is it? Oh, it's the one for the driver. No. The commander needs to be on frickin' watch, man. But the plastic on, I don't really like the plastic consistency on it. I don't remember the Panther being an issue, but the couple guns that I have, they're a little bit on the transparent and brittle side. Yeah, the hatch situation. Oh, so it happens to those as well? Thankfully, those are those pushed together ones, so they can only have 16 pieces. Good morning, Justin. It ain't sunny up there yet, is it? Well, maybe. They did sculpt the bottom escape hatch, though. That's just a dick move. That's just to make Marcus happy. Not that Marcus is a dick. I'm just saying that, he likes looking at the underside of things. Upskirt Marcus. Only on tanks. Only if the skirts are shirtsin'. Okay? I don't know if he's listening yet, but I'll reply that to him. I'll remind him of that when it says. Hey, me too. I only look up shirts and skirts. Yeah, well, they have this. They have the underside of all this stuff too. Although I don't know if it's accurate, but I don't care. Okay, it's time to. It's time to do a couple things here. First thing, I think I'm going to prime these chattering teeth. I had to look them up this morning to find out what these things are called. Those little wind-up teeth that were a joke from the. There's stuff from the 70s that were like gag things that were like relatively popular that you would see them in stores. I don't know if anybody ever bought them. Little wind-up monkey that bangs with the cymbals. That little. You know what I'm talking about? That little. You bang like this. Chattering teeth that you'd wind up and go across the floor. Rubber chickens. What else? People in gorilla suits. People in gorilla suits were popular in the 70s, and then somehow someone got offended, I guess, about the gorillas. What else was popular in the 70s? I'm sure there's other things. But, little chattering, that's what these things are. The little chattering teeth, that little antenna here, like for remote control or radio control. It's not remote control. Remote control has a wire and or cannon fuse coming out of it. And I'm going to go ahead and prime wherever the rest of these little guys are. Did I only pull one out? And the little RC bombs. I need at least 3. I guess I pulled them all out. Okay, well, I'll go ahead and paint all of them because it's not like I'm going to paint them differently. Never trust a man that lets a lady go on the escalator ahead of him. So, there's a lot of things that are ingrained in you, or at least they're ingrained in me, without without me having to take the course. When you're walking with your lady down the sidewalk, you stand closer to the traffic. We do that all the time when we're in the neighborhood. Like, I'll move her to the other side. I mean, not that she's delicate and fall apart or anything, but it's just like common sense. And now we're gonna hit. Here's the thing I don't like. Here's the thing that doesn't make any sense about days off, right? So Monday was a Memorial Day. So because Monday's a Memorial Day, there must be somebody whose garbage day is on Monday. And because I know I've never heard of anybody having a garbage day on Monday. And because somebody has a garbage day on Monday, and the sanitation engineers are off on said Memorial Day, that pushes everybody's garbage day one day off. My garbage day here happens to be on Friday. So I took the garbage out because I'm not going to figure out whether they're off or not. I'll leave it out there. And if it stays an extra day, well, everybody's on the road will stay an extra day, and they just have to deal with it. So, lo and behold, I came home yesterday, and the garbage was still out there. So now I'm hearing the garbage truck, and I'm thinking, what good is it to be off Monday for Memorial Day, but then you have to work a Saturday? I don't understand how that's a benefit. It's like, hey, we're going to give you Monday off, but there it is. I'm going to give you Monday off, but you got to work the next Saturday that you don't normally work. That's kind of a dick move, You get a 3-day weekend, but then the next weekend you get a 1-day weekend. Okay, why did he? Careful. Don't be offended, people. It's not my joke. I won't be offended. I probably won't be offended, but I make fun of everything. So, all right. Looks like this comes with five. I'm gonna paint all five of them. Make sure these little. Good morning. Oh, I thought you were Marcus there, and Marcus is more meat than you. I mean, on the face, his icon's more face than yours. Actually, that's not your face. Good morning. Why did a Mexican throw his wife off tequila? I don't get it. I like tequila, but I hug people. I'd be the opposite of. Yeah, I don't get it either. I don't understand it. Maybe two, which is the first amazing thing. And I get here, and my wife is here with let's just say a coworker, a lady that she works with, and sometimes they swap what houses that they're working at. Sometimes they'll work individually or whatever. And she happened to be here, and they were still working late, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go shower, which is like the first thing I want to do when I get home, and then I'm gonna kind of putz around until they're done doing their thing. I've got my own room here to do as I please, and I'm like, let me fire up the computer, and I fired up the computer, and let me give you the short version, or I'm never gonna get to it, and. And I pulled up War Thunder that I just played a couple days ago with my friend Don that I hadn't played in probably 3 months with. And we usually fly around. He likes tanks. I can't stand the tanks. They're stressful. They're stressful. And I like the planes. And it's an opportunity to learn about planes. So we're playing the French, right? We play all the nations except the Chinese. We haven't played the Chinese yet on the aircraft. Or anything really. And he plays it all the fucking time. He plays it all the damn. He plays too much, and he needs to paint. And he doesn't paint. But anyhow, we're playing the French, and I unlocked some French bomber that's called like an MB 2.22.2, some huge Tupolev 2 looking French monstrosity, that has like gazillion little bombs. And I take it out for a flight. And as Hoffman and I have talked, I'm not a French hater. I don't buy into that whole, surrender monkeys, and that's one war, and of all the wars, that's the one war, that's the one people want to remember. But anyhow, so we're playing French and everything, and I bring this one bomber out for the first time, and just freaking wipe the floor with I win the game for my team, which has happened before, but not that often. I'm not a terrible player, but I'm not great, but I'm not bad. We'll leave it at that. So their flight simulator is really easy to fly. The people that programmed it with a mouse, you can do some great things with it. But anyways, I beat this. I told Don, I got to do a French vehicle next. That's my long version of saying I'm going to do a French vehicle next. And I've talked about it, but video's frozen. Back now. I didn't do anything. To kill her. Yeah. Yeah, maybe I just pronounce it differently. I've never played IL-2, and the reason why I never played IL-2 is because it came out in that time period when I didn't have a computer. And I've played flight games, I'm going to say my whole life, but I've played them since the Lucasfilm games. What was the Lucasfilm? The Lucasfilm in the Dynamics game. The Lucasfilm game was Battle of Britain. That was the first one I played. It came out like in 91 or something like that. 91. Battle of Britain. You could play Germans, you could play British, that's it. you know. And then, Aces over Europe, Aces over the Pacific, Secret Weapons of the Luftwaffe. That's a Lucasfilm game, I'm pretty sure too. Didn't like that one too much. All the Red Baron games, all those. I mean, obviously played Flight Simulator. Bore me. Like, I don't give a shit about that, right? I want to do like combat. I'm never going to get to do combat in real life, thankfully. But, anyhow, so I grew up playing all those. Oh, what was the one that I got on my gateway that was really good for its time? European Air War. Man, you'd fire that thing up, and my speaker was all the way at the bottom. It would blow so much air out of it, you can feel the air on your legs. I mean, unless you're wearing tights while you're playing the game, and I don't. But the programming on the War Thunder, it's the easiest thing to play. And it's like I'm relatively good at flight games. What I mean by that is if you give me like if the flight game is programmed properly and they say, hey, you need to fly through this valley of this canyon or a valley of like skyscrapers, I can do it easily. Now, if the game's all wonky, like, what was that game? Real Red or something? Well, Real Red wasn't that bad. But like Enlisted, the planes on Enlisted on the Xbox are impossible to fly. Impossible to fly. Like I cannot fly them. My brother had problems way back in the day playing the Grand Theft Auto, flying the Learjet. I had no problem flying that thing. So I'm pretty decent with, I don't get motion sickness or any of that stuff. I've done it my whole life. Like, it's a game. It's not like I'm doing a real plane, But the War Thunder programming that they did with aircraft is better than any of them I've ever seen in any game. It is super smooth. It is super easy to like, okay, I just want to shift over here and you can do it. I want to go over here, you can do it. Like everything is like precise. Whether you're playing it realistic or whatever, it's not jittery or nothing. So they did a really good job of that. You're a Zelda and Far Cry fan. I have played neither one. I probably would have played Far Cry. I just never did. A lot of silver planes in that one. Not sure supports that amount of chrome. Silver planes. Well, you mean like natural planes of natural finish? Anyways, Don had been singing the praises of War Thunder for many, many years. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. What's another video game? I played lots of video games. And then I just started playing it because, well, we talk about World War II shit while we're playing it. That's the best thing, about it. But I don't want to play tanks. I played lots of tank stuff. I played that stupid, what is it, World of Tanks and all that. Like, the planes are the better one. The ships are just a little too slow. There's not. It's okay, but I don't mind having like two odd planes on one side. But if you're like, why is there two Bismarcks, or why is there they're both called Bismarck, or why is there two hoods, or I find that annoying. You don't like natural finished planes? No, don't tell me you don't like natural finished planes. I've never heard anybody complain about, I don't like natural finished planes. Man, that's not what you mean. Some of the best looking American aircraft are natural finished. And no, I'm not a P-51, acolyte. I don't hate them, but, they're not my favorite plane or anything like that. You're just upset because the British didn't have any silver plates. I don't think they did. Now that I think about it, I don't think there's any World War II British aircraft that are metallic finished. Now that I think about it, there's probably no German ones either. Actually, the Americans and Japanese might be the only ones that have that. Hmm. As the Japanese had a lot of them, and they'd spray squiggles on them. Yeah, they'd spray squiggle camo. Yeah, I never thought about that. Anyways, all that to say that I might do a French one soon. I got them. I only have like 4 of them. But I probably should go ahead and knock out these ones that I've already broken apart so they're not all over the place. You like chocolate ice cream, but I can't have only. Same with natural finish planes. Who has not only natural finish planes? I wouldn't want all natural finish planes. I don't like chocolate ice cream. It's probably one of the only ice cream flavors that if it's in the house, I won't touch it. It's too bitter. Because chocolate ice cream doesn't taste like, I would even say I'm not even a chocolate fan. Although European chocolate is worth eating, the stuff we have here in the States and in the New World is garbage. But that's just my personal opinion. If I go to an Aldi's, they have, and I don't know what brand it is, they have some German chocolate. It's German or Swiss, same difference. Aren't the Swiss like pacifist Germans, basically? I bet they're funnier. I bet they have better jokes. So Swiss jokes are better than German jokes. But anyhow, they have one that they have there here in the States that has pretzel pieces in it, and it's addictive. And I'm not even a chocolate fan. And yeah, I can't buy that. I can't buy that. But who has only natural finish planes? Yeah, Ben, I've never heard anybody make that comment, man. You're your own man. I like it. I mean, I totally agree with you. I wouldn't want all natural finish planes either. But I have never built a model of a plane that's natural finish. I'm not a fan of World War One planes. They're all so damn ugly, in my opinion. Unattractive, I should say. I don't like radial engine planes. As a general rule, very general rule, radial engine planes are unattractive. As a general rule. Does Aldi in your way also have those salted caramel gelato cups? No, probably not. I haven't been to an Aldi in Britain, but I went to an Aldi in Spain, and it's amazing. It puts this top tier country not in a top tier. The Aldi in Spain was incredible. Better selection, better items, significantly better prices than in the States. All the screenshots for the game seem to be those planes. I'm guessing they will have some other schemes, though. Oh, you're talking about IL-2 Korea. All those planes are god-awfully ugly. God, they're ugly. Yeah, you're right. Both sides have natural finish aircraft. Well, they were faster planes, so the paint couldn't keep up. Yeah, I don't like MiG 15s or F 86s, or they're both ugly. I never thought about it though. Well, they got planes that aren't natural finish, but they're not jets. Bearcats, and I don't understand why people love Corsairs so much. Okay, so you say you don't like natural finish planes. I don't like planes that are painted in that overall navy dark blue. So like something like a Hellcat, I hate Hellcats. Well, they're a great plane. They might be a great plane. Radial engined, all in one fucking dark color that's gloss sometimes. No. Feissimo. Not interested. I'm not building a Hellcat. Yeah, I would build a Hellcat if I had, every other plane first. Spain has Aldi Nord, UK gets Aldi Sud. That makes no sense. That's somebody from Australia must have named that. Korea War planes are cool to me, maybe because they were in a bunch of old Godzilla films. That's probably exactly why. I love them in kaiju films. Man, don't send me down that road, Hoffman. Speaking of not going down roads, all right, is my phone free? I'm not going to do it, but I like to fantasize about it. It's family friendly. Don't worry. What are these? These these local hippies got nothing to do. Okay, this is some Chinese knockoff piece of shit thing, I'm sure. But there's this thing keeps coming up. YOLO Park. YOLO. And it's these transformers that aren't really transformers, meaning they're posable and they have different parts and they run about $8 a piece. And they're the generation ones. And I'm like, oh man, those would be fun to paint. And once you search on something, it keeps sending you. Who's this guy? I don't recognize this red guy. It's not Sideswipe. Cliff Jumper. Okay, well that explains why I don't know who the hell it is. So he comes like in little parts, almost like a Lego, and you can, I guess, pose him. I don't know that he transforms into whatever the hell a Cliff Jumper is. Is he a Jeep or something? But I think they're just too big. I think they're like this size. That's just too big to do something like that with. But it's the one from the series that I liked. Like here's RC. I don't remember what the hell it's called. I watched this with my daughter. Although I didn't like the Transformers that were like, okay, they're this big when they're a robot. Like, oh, let me transform into a motorcycle. Okay, and the motorcycle's this big, like human size. Like one of these things, not like the other. You know. I don't know who this. I don't know who this black guy is here, but he's got some mauve type undertones. He's trying to explain, probably trying to explain to the other guy, no, I'm really not gay. Robots can't be gay. I don't know. The problem with Temu stuff is that the pic's never what you get in there. Is that Temu? I don't know how to. I don't. It looks suspect. You know. Like here's a suspect thing. Like let's say you see something and you go, oh that looks pretty cool. Save 10%. Shipping fees will be calculated at checkout. Okay. And then you go to wherever this is, and then you have a big. It does not look like a normal. I mean, these look pretty damn good. But to be honest with you, I'd want to do what I do with these guys. I'd want to clear coat them, give them a brown wash, put like rust and stuff on them, you know. Yeah, they're like quick assembly, like they're in multiple parts, but it's just fun to look at and go, okay, well, that was a fun, entertaining thing. It's kind of like when I did that that database, that sheet that I sent to you, Ben, about the pre-dreadnoughts. Like I'm like, man, I really want to get into pre-dreadnoughts, and then I listed them all out, who made what, enjoyed doing that, realized I didn't have the stomach to make that kind of decision, and just put it away. Definitely looks like his oil's being checked. That's right. Is it Temu or Temu or Temu? I don't know. Considering what it is, I need to find out how to pronounce it correctly and make sure I don't pronounce it correctly. So my wife, not to go into any details, but she's involved in this business, in this startup business. You could say it's for a hobby item. You could. It's not related to anything I do, and they had some stuff that's been compromised and being sold in China illegally. So she's going through legal crap and like just need a vigilante service. 1-800-vigilante. In Spanish, vigilante, that's somebody who's a watcher, like the watcher, like making sure everything's in order. Yeah, making all kinds of contract people to make stuff there, and then they're not supposed to make it for anybody else, and they make it anyways, and they sell it. Calling it the teamers is the teamers in the thick southern drawl would upset the most people. Teamers. Okay. You buy that from teamers? Okay. That's what we'll call it then. I want to say I saw a video. Well, Ben stepped away. I'm going to say it anyways. I want to say I saw a video one time where people in Britain, I'm not saying everybody, but people in Britain were fascinated by people with American southern drawls. Like some people even found them attractive, and I'm like, no, no, no. Especially on a lady, like, mm-mm. And I'm from the South. I don't want to listen to that. I mean, I don't want to listen to somebody who sounds like from New Jersey either, but I'm just saying that. Okay, did we get everything? Well, we got some wheels. These wheels look like they belong on roller skates. Okay, we got some tail lights to do here, tailpipe, and then the front lights. Let's go ahead and jump and get the let's get these little orange lights on the front done. And of course, we're going to need our friend. I almost said, hey, I should go to the game shop. I'm not going to the game shop. I'm not going. I've given up on them. They obviously not interested in business. Open weird ass hours. Closed on Memorial Day. What the hell? The only way I would allow an exemption for being closed on Memorial Day for a place like that is if you were like the only owner and the only person that worked there. There's a small hobby store we'll call it next town over, and he's got weird hours. You know, he's open on Saturday from like 10 to 3 or something like that. 10 to 4. And he gets an exemption because he's the only guy there. I mean, he has a day off. Although I would say, be off on Mondays. Be off on like Sundays and Mondays. Oh, I guess he is off on Sundays and Mondays. It's just, But, hobby store needs to be open on the weekends so that people can, I mean, what good is a hobby store being open at noon on a Tuesday? What, for Mitch? No, Mitch doesn't buy hobbies, That garbage truck, when it moves, it sounds like it needs new bearings. Man, that Joker's loud. Enjoy working on a Saturday. I'd rather go in tomorrow than today. Like, today's my first chance of having a day off. Like, I'm taking it. I earned it. What are you giving up on Sunday? Not being able to go to closed stores because they're closed? Whoop-dee. All right. Front lights and backup lights. I'm surprised you said there was a shitload of hobby stores where you're at around San Antonio. They're just a thing of the past around here. There's so many, it makes me angry. I was so bored as a kid, and now everything is here. Well, but now you got, and I use this loosely, okay? Now you have money to buy things. And I mean that loosely because, well, when I was a kid, I didn't have any fucking money. I didn't get an allowance. I mean, I wasn't, people would say, well, you weren't really missing anything. Like you weren't poor, but I couldn't just buy whatever I want. So yeah, I hear you. Also, the area you live in has a huge population that I didn't realize it had that kind of a population. It's like number 7 or something like that, right? I mean, it's way up there in population. And people say, oh, what's the most populous cities in the United States? New York, LA, Chicago. What's 4? And like 4, I think, is Houston. And then like 6 is San Antonio. I'm like, when the hell did that happen? When they opened the border? I don't know. But San Antonio is a huge population. And it just doesn't seem like it'd be a really good place for a huge population, meaning it's kind of, you guys are like kind of like off, south, I mean, it depends how where you draw the line. Like Miami doesn't have a high population in the city limits, but that whole metropolitan area has a shitload of people in it, and they're all nasty too, almost all. Only when they're driving. Growing up, we're not well off. I don't want to say poor because I saw a lot poorer, but you're right now. I have money. Well, you have some flexibility, right? You have some flexibility. When you're a kid, you don't have any flexibility. Like when you're an adult, you're like, all right, well, assuming you're keeping within a budget, you're like, well, I won't go out to eat as much this next month, and I'll buy Transformers or something. I'm just saying, that's you have some flexibility. You're not. I didn't like being a kid because you had no control. You were just at the whim of whatever happens. You're on a major highway. If you follow the main highways in Texas, you go through all the big cities. Oh, all right, I'll do it. I'll be tempted by a map. There's an opportunity to look at a map. I'm going to look at a map. That's what I should do for a living. Something involved with maps. But, as I think geographically. Okay, yeah, you guys have a pretty good road net. All the highways go through all the major cities. But I know what you mean. Yeah. There's some states that have a terrible interstate pattern. I think Georgia's is not very good. Mississippi's road net is almost like geared towards how do we get people the fuck out of this state as quick as possible? I guess you guys are a lot closer to Austin than I thought. Let's see. Hobby. Search. Let's see what you got. Auto Hobby Shop, Al's Hobbies, Anime Tokyo, that doesn't really count them. Dibble's Hobbies, I think that's the one you've talked about. Alamo City Hobby Shop, Hill Country Hobby, House of Cards. That doesn't even remotely I don't even remotely consider that gaming. Hobbytown doesn't count. Buddy's Toys and Collectibles, no. Art Radio Control Headquarters, nope. Hole in the Wall Hobbies, well, that one's way out here. That's up by an Air Force base. Yeah, you guys have quite a bit. San Antonio population. San Antonio population. San Antonio is one of the fastest growing large cities in the United States and is on track to surpass Philadelphia as the 6th largest city in the nation. Didn't I just say 6th? Map nerd. Yep. People are everybody's a nerd about something. Oh, I don't want to just do sports. Sports nerd. Hole the walls hobbies is close to you. Let's see. Let's track you down. Okay, so you probably, I don't know how the demographics are or anything, but you that's probably a good place to live because you're kind of on the fringe, right? You're not like a cluster. Yeah, now I know what you mean. Like you were talking about going with your brother and hitting a bunch of shops. It's kind of far, and I only mean by that's a lot of driving. You have a great selection of minis. Well, let's see some pictures then. It's typical card playing thing. How much better? And if you play card games, I'm sorry, but as somebody who paints and creates things, I don't see what the point is of just buying shit. That is that you can buy blind, right? That feeds into people's gambling, which doesn't work with me. I'm not a gambler, and you don't create anything. I just don't see what the point. Like I would totally. I don't have a thing against Warhammer other than the pricing and yeah, that looks like a pretty typical game store. I would call that a game store for sure. Everything you need for Warhammer. What if you don't need Warhammer? Warhammer's just too expensive. Airport City. Randolph Air Force Base. We got any cool planes on the tarmac? Nope. They're all indoors. No. Number 6. Yeah. Well, that's changed a lot. I mean, population things change. One year like, oh, most populous city is Tokyo. Then I remember it was Mexico City for the longest time. Oh, so there's 28 million people in Mexico City. Well, it depends how far out you know, you do that. He's in all right area. It's getting a little shitty though, which is making me second guesses about buying the house you're in. Yeah. The only way you can kind of predict that is if you've lived in an area a long time. Like when we lived in Gainesville, I've lived there since '81, so I know where not to buy a house. And and I'm of the opinion that once a place gets shitty, you can't unshitty it. Um, you know, and I bet a lot of it has to do with unemployment rate. You got an area with a lot of unemployed people, it's going to be shitty. They don't have anything to do other than like steal lawnmowers from each other, or whatever. Like I get home, let's say even if I was a troublemaker, I'm mixing the wrong color. I'm getting excited. Um, even if I wanted trouble, I'm too tired to cause trouble. Get tired of hearing freaking planes some days. Yeah, I could see that. Anything cool, or you just do regular tankers or something to fly over there? I imagine that's probably what it is. Those KC 130s or whatever the hell they are. I don't like hearing low flying aircraft. I wish we want to get out there with a 20. Dun, 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 dun. Like, what are you going to do? Crash on me? Get away, man. Flying too low. Gonna go get some tacos while your dripping's dry. I got already. I got an interesting build idea for this street sweeper. I'll send you some pics of the build area later when you're on your computer. Okay. Yeah, I've got one too. I'll need to send you a picture of the street sweeper I have. It looks different than yours. I'd say yours is cooler, definitely. Mine has the sweeping kind of in the middle of the vehicle on the sides, almost like under the ribs, so to speak. Hey Lee, what's happening? You're the person that comes on here that has the shortest real name but the longest handle. And Enfield Road layout in the loft, 5204. Did you add the 5204 or was that added for you? I was reading my feed this morning before I went on, and one person recommended some site. Not that I was going to go to it. I get all my news from such and such, and the news source was something that had a number, which I'd never heard of before. And people don't think about stuff before they put them down. Somebody asking on the comments, what's that number mean? You could have just Googled it and figured it out. It wasn't the number of the beast or anything like that. It was just, people asking on the thing, hey, what's that number mean? How about just go on Google and ask, hey, what's this number mean? And you get your answer immediately. I just don't like creating extra drama. Well, I wonder what they responded with. Man, you could have already had your answer. YouTube added it? Okay. Yeah, I watched a YouTuber I hadn't seen in a long time the other day. Not yesterday, but the day before, and that was I'm sure you know who he is. Well, maybe you don't. Well, you do terrain stuff, so but you don't do wargaming things. So the terrain tutor, I don't know where he's from. Well, he's from your island. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I guess he hadn't made videos in a long time. And whatchamacallit. And the guy has a talent for I don't know how rehearsed it is what he does, but I think he has a talent for public speaking and explaining things to people. I think he does a really good job. He has a lot of energy. He has a lot less energy now than he used to. Not a lot less. He has less, but he explains things. I wouldn't do that good of it. I'd need cards or something. I'd forget something. You know him, great channel. He does a superb job of doing what he does. I mean, there's some people that do a really good job of explaining things. I would need cards because I forget that. I don't like to. I didn't have a very good experience in school. Being taught how to write things. Not that I'm stupid, I mean, I'm stupid in my own way. We all are. But I mean, as far as writing, about organizing your thoughts, right? So that it's. But again, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do I don't mind doing videos, but I don't want to put like an hour of effort to do a video to look professional. Like, look, I'm human, just like the rest of you guys, and we're just hanging out. We're just hanging out. And if it becomes a lot of work, I don't want my hobby to become work, right? Because I don't get paid enough for this. I don't get paid enough at all for this. So, I like to wing things. I don't mind planning when whatever it is that you're doing deserves planning for it. So, but he does a really good job. He does. I was listening to him speak the other day, and I'm like, the guy has a gift for doing that, and he knows what he's talking about. Like, but not everybody is good at that. And he speaks very clear. And someone who is not a native English speaker, an American, I don't have to use subtitles on him. He speaks very easy to understand. He enunciates. That's what it is. It's not the accent. It's an enunciation issue. Not far from you. What part? Well, I don't want to. I don't want to make it sound like I want to find out where you live, but what part of Britain of an accent does he have? I would imagine the South. It's definitely not Scouse that he's speaking. He speaks very clear. He does a really good job. And I know a couple of years ago he had some tough times and people gave him hell about it or whatever. Or some people gave him hell about it, but he seems like a nice man. And that's why I don't really understand. Not that I'm really interested in it, but I'm not really understanding. I don't really care to do Patreon or any of those things because it's like, look, we've all gotten a lot of free things from the internet, whether you admit it or not, right? I think all of our hobbying has gotten so much better just from seeing other people do things and picking up little things that you're like, you'll see somebody's video and you go, I like what that guy did. Let me incorporate that. Or that's not going to turn out the way I want. Let's not go down that path, right? I'm not trying to poo-poo the way somebody does something, but you can at least see the end result and the steps that it took to get there. So now you don't have to reinvent that wheel, right? You can just learn from someone else's experiences. And you're doing it for free. Well, the cost of power, right? The least thing you could do is if you have some kind of knowledge, pass that on to other people for free as well. That's the way I look at it. Like I've gotten a lot out of the internet. I don't mind giving back. If somebody asks me a question, look something up, and it's a reference material I have, I'll be happy to do it, for somebody, as long as they're not a communist or another ist. Um, just be nice to each other. And it's like things at work. I do things outside of I should be doing at work because it takes me a minute and a half to do it, or it would take somebody else 17 minutes. Like, just do it, South. Well, I understand him really well. But I was watching a video, and it's on, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it was basically rating all the accents in Britain by easiness to understand. And a lot of it has to do with, not only is it pronunciation, but there's some versions of it where they just skip over words. Like if you're literally reading a book, some of the words would be the word would be cut off part of it, or like the intervening stuff would be eliminated. They wouldn't even say it, like in speaking. And that's, if you're not trained to understand that accent and know to automatically fill in the blanks, you're not going to follow. Like I don't do this often, but I can mix Spanish and English together, one word after another. Not in any particular pattern, and it's just like I can do it. And I think in English. I don't really think in Spanish, but technically Spanish was my first language, as a wee lad, But it's the same thing. I'm not trained to understand to fill in those the things that they skip over in Geordie or cut off, and I'm like, what language are you speaking? And the rest of it is just enunciation. A lot of people mumble. A lot of people mumble, period, whether they're in the United States or Italy or. And the same thing happened the same thing happens in Italian. There was this series that Mitch was telling me about that I should watch. It was this mafia series. It's done pretty much in present day called Gomorrah. It was on Netflix at the time. I don't know if it's on there anymore or whatever. And it's really slow, but it's really good. It's very violent. And it's in Italian. And I watch everything with subtitles, whether it's, and I don't know what they're doing. Or You can read an Italian word, right, and like know what it says, but the way I break it apart to pronounce it would be different than the way they do. So I just like I don't even recognize the word, you know. So all those little nuances, but the daughter who spent 6 months in Spain and recently last year really had no interest in Spanish anything really, not like just didn't. And then she went over there and she'd like I don't know. I think she had kind of an awakening, almost like, oh, so this is where we come from. Not really, but just like she welcomes watching things in Spanish. So we're watching that House of what's it called? House of Paper or whatever, that whole heist thing that's on that my mom and brother have been telling me about. That's excellent. I started watching a little bit, and didn't take to it, so now we're doing it now, and they speak Spanish so freaking fast. I can barely keep up with the subtitles, like reading them in English. Of course, it's English subtitles, right? But and they mumble. I'm like, I can't keep up. I just can't keep up. So hopefully I'm not doing to you guys. Hopefully I enunciate properly, and I've never been accused of that. So, but sometimes we get our mouths start moving faster than our brains, which may or may not surprise some people. That's because you got a slow brain, man. But anyways, there were some accents in that video of accents of Britain that I'm like, what in the hell? You know. But Mel, I understand Mel really well. And he's loud too. There's another YouTuber that he has an accent. It's not very heavy, but and I've mentioned it to him, and I don't want to, he has a good show and he has a good demeanor and everything. It's just the volume level isn't up high enough for me to understand. I'm hard of hearing anyways. And even with the headphones, I can't understand what he says most of the time. And I generally don't watch him because of that. It's just such a damn struggle to understand what he has to say. But I put subtitles on everything because I'll miss things. It keeps me from asking the wife, what did they say there? It's just easier, and it's just that's how that whole same thing. You're listening, but you're also reading. That's the same thing. Like you're switching between languages. Like it. I mean, I don't switch between everything, but sometimes it comes out of your mouth easier in one language than another. So. But yeah, he's making videos again, so I think he has a real talent for whatchamacallit. It's funny. We all have our mannerisms that we probably say without knowingly saying them. I'm sure I have many. Let's get this one. I want to get this farther away from whatever's coming out of this clown's mouth. No, I truly mean that. Whatever's coming out of that clown's mouth is that fire or whatever. It says Hot Wheels on it. I may repaint that or not. I think it's gonna end up getting weathered away. Man, that was early for tacos, man. I guess you got a hankering for tacos. You got a hanker for tacos. Now, I've almost reached to the point where I'm like, I don't care if I ever have Mexican food again. I didn't say Tex-Mex. I'm talking about Mexican food. Like, I'm just, I'm just not interested. Other things I'd rather eat. But pretty soon, I'm going to have to start going in a different direction in that I'm going to have to start building things based on the bits I want to use. I need to like go through, okay, we've skipped over using these bits this many times. Let's find a car that these bits work on. They got lots of bits and categories that aren't that useful. I mean, we'll put a dent on the flamethrowers. I was like not using the flamethrowers there for a while, and it's not because they're flamethrowers, just in the game they're not a good value. You know, they have limited reach. They're deadly if you get flame, but you got to get relatively close to people to use a flamethrower in this game. And they take up all your build slots in a car. So if a car has a flamethrower, that's all it has. So let's put all your eggs in one basket, and they may not hatch. But enough about me. So I need to take a look at my bits and go, all right, we're going to do this. Now, this particular set of bits came from a clown car set bit that Creepy Hero Studios makes, or bits that I got. And when I got them all, I laid them out. It's on one of my videos about 5 months ago or something like that, maybe 4 months ago. I haven't been doing this that long. Where I laid out all to use all the bits on all the cars. So they're all significantly different. We use all the bits up. It was a lot actually easier to do than I thought it was going to, with little sticky notes. And I laid the car next to the sticky notes with the bits that were going to go with them. And I bagged the bits individually that went with that car. And that was definitely the right way to do that. So I think that's probably what I should do next is go in. Okay, we haven't used this odd weapon. Let's work that in something. Maybe I'll do a couple of those and realize maybe I don't want to do it that way, but at least give it a shot. There's some bits I've skipped over many times, and there's nothing wrong with them. They just don't necessarily work with anything that I'm doing. And I'm just not in a hurry to build trucks. I'm not in a hurry to build the rigs. Or the tanks, really. Well, the rules for the rigs got to be better than the rules for the tanks. The rules for the tanks just frankly suck. They're just not very good. You know, it's not a tank game. It's a vehicle combat game. So you can't give tanks all this kind of very particular skills that only they would have, because that's not really the purpose of the game. If this dried enough, we can come in. Bring up the grill with some chrome. Go to old school Citadel mithril silver. I'd even go to say probably best paints ever. Best paints I have. They just seem like they're heavy on the pigment. Like you thin them down a little bit, they still have lots of covering power. But I guess there aren't any British aircraft that are natural finish. Maybe what was that plane? Hawker Fury? But Hawker Fury really didn't go into combat in the Second World War. Good looking biplane too. Okay. And the tailpipes. Water's here just to keep all the moving parts lubed, so to speak. Keep the paintbrush from catching. I never understood that as a kid. And then when I started painting figures in the mid-90s, I'm like, oh, we got to do like this fine painting. Well, we're going to have to take multiple steps at it, multiple passes, as in layers. Doesn't matter if you thin the layers down. Probably won't be on later today. Could change. Probably won't be. But be back tomorrow morning for sure. I mean, unless something happens to me. You said you'd be back. Yeah, but I died. So you said. Okay, there's a little flower here in the center of it. Now that I notice it, I want to paint that like a little flower. I got to be careful. I really would make I want it to look like a flower, but I don't want to introduce any colors that aren't already on this vehicle. You know, like for instance, I don't want to introduce yellow to this. You already have blue, red, white, some green. Like this isn't all the colors of the rainbow. It's not that kind of clown, you know. It starts getting too chaotic. Okay, we still have some red here, because the mallet is definitely going to be red. The star on it. I don't mind mixing colors. What I really don't like is taking colors in and out and putting more parts of it. I'd rather just, I've done it this way for so long. It's like, it's too late. Too late to be retrained. And no reason to do it. At some point, I'm going to need to take a break from vehicles and work on some terrain. I want to do some little barriers, just tongue depressors with like fences. Let's just call it for better lack of a better word. I like to have about, I don't know, probably a dozen of those. I think I figured out how I want to do them. Just use these tongue depressors I already have. All right, where can I put this that it's not going to get scuffed up? Let's put this here. That's not going to work. Is this going to put too much pressure? Yeah, this thing's brutally strong. This thing's not as brutally strong. Okay. All right. Is this dry enough to weather? I think we should go ahead and do that. I'm gonna pull one of these out so I don't forget. I probably should do this soon. I don't have really anything to lose making one of these. This is what I plan on using for bases. I have a pack of these that I got for my barbed wire. This is like $3 for 30 of them. So what is that? 10 cents a piece. You know, just something like this, little fencing, like all one. You know, that fencing they have on the interstate. That I'm gonna leave this here so I remember to make a prototype, and then use this for the, you know, basically make some some supports, some vertical supports, slow, tall, just like maybe, 20 mil tall. And I need to remember to do that. I need to remember to use. I'm millimeter friendly because it's whole numbers. I hate fractions. I don't have a problem with the imperial system. I just hate fractions, especially anything more stupid looking than a quarter. If I have to work on fractions, I'll just convert them to decimal and then work it normally. Yeah, use this for look, they're even the same length. I didn't even know that. Yeah, so something like this with like verticals. 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. And then paint this red and white candy striped or black and white candy striped or black and yellow or whatever. I think red and white means, makes the best. Like paint it like a chicane. Yes, I know what that is. So the daughter and I have now started, is it 2 things now? I think this is this somehow and I have to ask her why she got into it, but she got into Formula 1, watching Formula 1. I used to race Formula 1 on the computer in the early to mid 90s. I guess technically it's the early 90s. I'd go to a friend of mine's house who had a computer. I didn't have one at the time. And he had this racing game. There was a Formula 1 game. And we got into the habit of waking up really early, watching a race, and then racing that race in the game. And, you had to work on your vehicles and stuff. You had to do tinkering and there were, like I'd have a vehicle I'd have a car that was one way and you have a car that was a different way. So you got to participate. I mean, shit, I haven't watched it since probably 1995. And I guess the daughter picked it up or whatever. And now there's a couple races we've watched, the Miami one and the Montreal one. So now that's a thing that we do. So that's kind of cool. I'd rather watch it live, but don't check the internet. But it's kind of cool. But both of the tracks they have done are ones I haven't raced before because they didn't exist back then. So it'll be interesting to see the Monaco one next week, I think is what it is, which I have raced a lot. It's a great track. Classic. Need to ask her why she got into it. I mean, I don't care who wins. I don't have I'm not one of those people. Get excited about other people that you've never met, that you don't have anything in common with. Why do you like that guy? His name starts with the same letter my name starts with. Like, I don't understand what the logic is, I never got that. I never got that gene where I get excited for other people. Oh, it's a little too top heavy. Something. Maybe this is still too top heavy. I'm looking for one of these, but I guess I don't have another one. I don't buy soda anymore. Not by the truckload like I used to. Let's remove this little guy right here. There we go. Let's put that here. You guys still awake? Hobby in a boot. All right. Chocolate brown. You know the usual suspects here. Chocolate brown. U.S. field drab. Yep. And Iraqi sand. We're going to do something that I probably should have done a long time ago. I'm going to take these 3 colors that are always in operation together. And I got my browns in the middle. I'm going to make a spot over here for these famous colors to all hang out together. And I'm going to put those guys one, two, three there. I'm going to put them back. Those are the spots for those 3. This is what we're going to use for weathering. I'm actually surprised how many people don't keep the graphics on the car. Now, if I didn't want these graphics, sure, I'd repaint it. But I could repaint this vehicle with something that doesn't have these fun-looking graphics, you know? Let's make sure. I don't like to cover up the lights. It's a slightly cartoonish look. Realistic, but with conditions. Conditionally realistic. Well, Lee, I guess you had the last word. Could show it to your significant other. See, look, I had the last word. Thank you. And the other day I was working on this, my stomach was having a whole concert series to itself. It wasn't anything bad, it wasn't, but somebody was listening to it, they're probably thinking, man, you better go to the bathroom, you're going to shit your pants. But it was just like, it's just making gurgling sounds. It didn't even hurt, it was just like, like, happens to everybody. A little bit of this, not too heavy, but enough to make all the little details this vehicle has kind of pop. You can see it at a distance. Otherwise, it just ends up looking like a metallic blue smudge. We'll leave the roof pretty much as is. And Iraqi sand. Which, interestingly enough, is not used in any of the desert tanks that I painted. I don't think this is one of the sand colors that goes in there. Yes, I know. It could be many things. It could be, weathering. It could be, some kind of chipping. I don't like doing chipping. It doesn't look bright to my eye, as you guys would say. Let's see what this looks like now. It's all right. Here's what the other clown car. Clowning around. I don't know what the hell they're. I'm sure I'll come up with a crafty name for them when the time comes. But for those of you guys that are still listening, so I had an epiphany the other morning. I think it was yesterday morning, and I realized I have so many cars, I could group them in subgroups based on color. Like the green machines. Like how many cars that I have that are like definitely green could be on one team. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 definitely 7. 7 predominantly green cars. Could do the same thing with yellow, red, blues, So that might be a good way to play the game also. It's like, which cars are mine? The green ones. They all have personality. Because I don't have them. That's one thing that I definitely wanted. I wanted them to be built a certain way, and you have to play them a certain way. And yeah, no, not every car is perfect, and it might have some things it's not good at, but that goes for every vehicle. They're not 80-point vehicles where it's like, okay, they're as armored as they can be, they're as fast as they could be, they have as many perks. No, they got weaknesses. There's things that they're not good at. They may not be good at something else, and another vehicle is. That's the whole reason to build another vehicle. Just happened to be that my sweet spot's 27 points. It may not be yours. It just kind of happened. Honestly, it's all Leadfoot's fault. Leadfoot was a 27-point vehicle. It was obvious whatever Leadfoot had. It just kind of grew from there. You're back. Had a call and then built the last of 2 BT7s. Yeah, so I could, totally do a team that's green cars. Or do one that's orange. I mean, I can't do orange. I can't do orange. I don't have that many orange cars. But I could do red, blue, green and yellow are probably the most. I got a lot of red ones too. And they may not be a good fit with each other. So that's that other thing to do. That actually probably would be pretty good in filming. Because you're like, okay, well, whose car is Frank doing? Well, first of all, I got to find a Frank. But, he's got the green ones, or so-and-so's got the blue ones. A lot of ways to play the game. But it's funny yesterday on the Gaslands group, and people love arguing about shit, right? Like, I don't like to argue. Like, you want to do things however you want to do them that way. I'm not going to stop them. I'm not 5'4". I don't care how you do things. I'm over 5'9". I don't need to get in your shit. I don't tell people how to do things, and I don't want people telling me how to do things. It's a symbiotic relationship. But this guy asked a question. He said he had a race, and they wanted to know who won the race because he crossed the finish line first, but as a wreck. And it's funny he should ask that because the one battle that I filmed, that's exactly what happened. Mitch and I were playing. I was leading the race for a long time. I mean, that's as close of a race as you can get. I crossed the finish line. I got destroyed, and then my wreck moved enough that it crossed the finish line. So did I win? And I think the conclusion we came with, like, first of all, it's not me winning. It happens to be a car that I made the decisions for that won. If it's my car, I mean, they're all my cars. I fucking built them all, right? So maybe I have a different outlook of it because of that. So I think the conclusion we drew in that we both agreed on was that I won, or my car won, but the driver wasn't there to claim the prize. So I won the race, but the medal or the winnings, whatever, was actually done by the other car. So that's about as much of a tie as you can get. Like, one guy won, but he's not here to receive his prize, so it'll go to the next guy. But some of the comments on that particular posting were like, man, you guys are playing with people that are way too aggressive with each other. Like, that just like, you got to see the bigger picture. Like, have a good time, develop a good narrative in the game. Who cares who wins? This isn't DBA. Who cares who wins? Yeah, and DBA is important because I got to log whether it's a win or a loss. Here, I don't care. I don't keep any stats. Not going to. How many have numbers still on them? Are there any numbers repeated? What are we talking about? Numbers on the cars? Like they already come pre-printed on the cars? If that's what you're saying, it's actually surprising how few cars I have that have numbers on them to begin with. So I deal with, on the cars. Okay, I'll answer your question after I say this one little bit. I interact with a lot of trucks, like tractor trailer type trucks on a daily basis, unfortunately. Okay, so I see a lot of trucks and a lot of numbers. And there's some numbers that do repeat a lot. Care to guess what they are? Number 1 is one of them. Well, number 1, okay. Okay, asshole, here's your number, Number 1. Number 7. 007. People trying to be cute with sneak a 69 in there, right? Number 69. I can't stand numbers that start with a 0. That's just, there's a couple of lessons that I learned in life early on, and one of them is like, when somebody says write the date of your month, I cannot stand putting 06. It drives me crazy. Makes me want to punch somebody. A 0 before the number doesn't count. So if there's a truck in there, it's like, it's 06, I put down 6. Who are you fooling? But it's actually surprising how few vehicles I have that have numbers on them. But since you asked the question, we're not going to go into ones that aren't painted yet, because we'll be here all month, okay? And there's not much month left. But still, let's look at vehicles that have numbers. 12. None, 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 none. Oh, this one has one. Hold on, I gotta open it. This is the Arshgai guy. I'm pretty sure Arshgai guy has a name. The Aspidal. The Beamer. What's the Beamer have? No number. I was mistaken. Okay, so we're only up to 12. I'm going to tell you there's probably none repeated. I'm just guessing. Okay? I haven't put numbers on it. Oh, I put numbers on one. I'm sorry. 12. Here's a 33. The 12 is a Jaguar Mark 1. Chrome Carl is 33. The Schadenfreude is 76. Nova Pain has 502 written on the intake, but it's not the number of the car. It just has 502 horsepower or whatever. So I thought that one doesn't count. Same thing with like the F-150 truck, La Troca Loca. It has F-150 on it. That's not really the name of it. That's just, it's an F-150. Ramrod, I put a 4 on it. And that's all the numbers in this box. So there's not very many. So 55 cars, I only have, what, 4 with numbers? And then over here we have not counting the cop cars, because they just have whatever they came with. None here have numbers. None. 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 A 2. Baron von Richthofen is 2. That's it. That's the only cars I have with numbers on them. So of like 100 and something cars, I only have like 5 cars that have numbers. I haven't tried to avoid them. Cop cars don't count because they always have numbers. I have 18 and 204, I think. Yeah. Now I do. Oh, did I miss the Jaguar? Jaguar has a 1. The Sir Jagoff is a 1. He's number 1. So it's really the exception, and it's also the exception vehicles I have repainted. So that basically means the vehicles that I've picked for whatever reason they have no numbers. I've never thought about that, but now I do have a lot of vehicles to do that happen to have numbers. It just, I don't know, it just kind of happened. Luck of the Irish. Never really thought about that. Are you saying I should do some vehicles with numbers? Well, the number of the vehicle is irrelevant because, it's going by the name of it, the vehicle. And I'm glad there's not a bunch of repeat numbers. Now, would I use 2 cars that are number 4 in a race? Absolutely. Because it doesn't matter. That's not the name of it. But I never really thought about it. Oh, hold on. There's a vehicle that had a roundel on it. Oh, it's the little Mini Cooper. Oh, but I didn't put a number on it. I put AB on it because of the name of it. I don't remember what the name of it, but it has AB on it. It's, a lot of cars have like a roundel that's just a white dot. And I don't know why they did that. Probably because on a real car, it's like a temporary thing. So that depending on the race, they'll put, I don't know if they put tape or something, but it's, like they put black tape over a white roundel on the side of the door. Like, I don't want a car just running around with a white roundel on it. It just looks like it's out of place. I was going to say you could have grouped them by numbers, but that won't work with so few. Yeah, no. No, it definitely won't work. But colors works. And it probably would look good, too. And I have a feeling that the colors, you're going to get a really diverse group of cars. Because the green ones don't have anything in common with each other other than they're green. So, yeah. I like setting up the scenario. Okay, here's the scenario. Here's the teams. Who do you want to be? I don't care. I'll pick last. I really don't care. I'm here for the narrative. I don't even care if I play. Other than I like making decisions on, how to drive. But I kind of like telling people what I would do if I was in their shoes anyways, whether or not they choose that. It's about the narrative to me, And rolling dice. It's always about rolling dice. But I don't know that I've ever seen. I'm sure someone did it because it's kind of obvious. I've never seen anybody create cars by nation as I've done, by national grouping. It's like it's just natural to me as somebody who's played, games and involved countries to group them that way. To have, Italians and Italian cars. As I was telling my daughter, we were watching Formula One, I said, it's weird to have, a Ferrari team and people that aren't Italian driving on a Ferrari. It's just weird to me. It's not natural. It's not natural to do that. Not natural for me. I mean, there's no reason they should be that way because, like I said, these guys are all criminals. All of a sudden, they want to be, they want to support their country that locked them up. It's not really country. It's, it's just influenced by that. Parties and picnics. Four-armed wonder clown. I know who that. We're gonna have a picnic. Let's hire a clown. Unless you want one of those lady clowns. Yeah, I'm not into that. All right, I need to do one of my tricks, and my stomach is just on a tear. Let's grab. It's probably something I say a lot. Let's grab. Why gotta be grabbing things? Orange brown. Giggles McNasty. That'd be a good name for a clown. Giggles McNasty. Maybe that's what we'll do with this. MC McNasty. I think he needs to be an urban clown. That way we can work him into that as well. Let's water this down. And we need this redder, so what if I added this to it? And now we're making more of a paste instead of a wash. So this could stay on there and not get diluted. Especially for some of the darker colors. If you're going to put this on a darker color. Giggles McNasty. Oh, so it's a Scottish clown. There's some nasty thing. There's some McNasty or something like that on St. Pete Beach. Now that I think about it. Some pub or something. What's it called? I'm fine. I know where it is. I wouldn't go. A place looked like a shithole from the outside. It's fine. It's nice place, and but you're back. Time to get the steamroller hopefully close to being finished. Yeah, this place. It's got a little dude here. I'd never go to this place. It just looks like some sticky thing. And they've got, look at their little logo. He's like an egg. He's like a Scotch egg. Giggles McNasty. I'm playing my own didgeridoo in my stomach, I guess. Oh shit, fuck that one up. There we go. Straighten that out. That went off at an angle. Well, only if you're parked on an incline for a long time will that work. Yes, what I was saying earlier is I could group these cars by color. I could do a race with all the green cars versus all the yellow cars. It'd be easy to like track down who's who. Like you could tell at a glimpse. Okay, so here's that done. Let's take these three colors and put them in their sanctioned location. Let's go back to this mallet wherever she is. In eBay yesterday, looking at clown cars. I don't know if it's possible. I'd like to do a clown buggy with lots of crew members and like those cartoons when a clown car pulls up and 20 clowns exit. So here's the thing about in the game. And this one's maxed out on crew. It can only have 2 crew. So you can only double the amount of crew. I mean, if you're going to follow the rules strictly. I mean, look, it costs you 4 points for a crew member. So who really cares if you put like 9 guys in there? It's going to cost 36 points extra for that. So do you really want to spend time on it? You can break your own rules and do that. I just decided not to. It's a slippery slope. And next thing, I'll get some kind of a complex and just be modifying everything. But this has 4 crew members in it. So then if the vehicle has 3 crew, all you can do is double it to 6, according to the game rules. You have to paint. You have to pay for each guy. You get a free pistol with everybody, and they're able to use a new weapon every time. But that's what this thing has. So let's take a look at what this looks like, kind of at this moment. Looks like something that's like crush roaches. Let's get this off this pedestal. There we go. So you could take a bus. I wanted to take the London bus. A bus has 8 crew members and double it to 16. It cost a fortune though. That's 64 points just in that alone. So I'm it just becomes really too expensive of a vehicle, unless you're doing it for a scenario or something like that. So besides, 8 is enough. Like rolling 8d6, 360 degrees is enough. Of course, you got to get in medium range. You know, you got to mix it up and everything, but. All right, so what else? That looks pretty good. Let's keep this. What happened to it? I literally just had it. Saw double the crew members and maybe thought you could stack. You could. I mean, you could. I mean, it's your game. You can play it however you want. You know, what's the harm in putting 16 people in this car? Well, it's gonna be really expensive. And then it could be overpowered in a game. I don't know that it would be. It's not like it's going to take any. It can only take 6 damage. I think there's no harm, no foul. I just haven't done it yet. Now you could create that compact car class so it has 3 crew members and then double it to 6. You know, that's a possibility. I just had this. I had put the alligator clip disappeared. Well, maybe it's that one. I just haven't done it yet because slippery slope and all that, you know. There's like a little flower here. I'm going to paint that like a flower. But I don't want to add any new colors. I don't want to add yellow to it. So we can add white in the center. And you're not going to know if it's a flower unless you add a flower color. Maybe I'll do red for the center and white for the little legs on it. That's what I'll do. It's like, look, I'm never going to play in a tournament. I don't even want to play this game with people I don't know. I'm too sensitive. Oh, I can't believe he called that guy that car's called a bastard. What'd he do to you? I'm like, I'm having fun. The guy's a felon. The guy deserves the death penalty. Well, when you're these people that are in these cars, when one of them dies, everyone should be happy. You know? That's the whole point. There are no good guys. You know, because one of the game stores is actually open till midnight, which is pretty extreme. I'm not going to advertise a game there, and who knows what I'm going to get, you know? Touching my cars, packing all my stuff up. I'm like, that doesn't provide any. People don't get it. There's some people like, oh, you haven't gamed in a while. You need to get a game in. I'm like, what makes you think? And I have a good time playing games, kind of proven in like the lots of videos that I have, but it's not therapeutic. You know, if you got to do a lot of lifting just to play that game, it's not really therapeutic at all. Just creating more work for me. So. You know, I made all the videos because they're easy to do. They don't really cause me, well, they do cause me more work, but they were okay to do, but. Almost everyone, oh, I said almost everyone I've ever gamed with, when I put out content, they have come to the conclusion that it wasn't worth their time to watch my content. Oh, I can't spend whatever time watching your video. Okay. Well, I can't make a video that's dumbed down and really edited just so your lazy ass wants to watch it. You know? I'm already overworked. I don't need to create more work for myself. And you'll see it all the time. People are like, you know, oh, somebody only watched your video for like 27 seconds. Well, they have a condition. Or it doesn't apply to. I mean, I certainly watch videos for less than 27 seconds, but it's not stuff I'm into. I show up by accident. So when I come across a video, and I don't know what it's called, but it'd be until midnight some nights, but it's a pub too. I think it told you about the battle pub. Like I've said before, I stopped doing DBA because I was doing stuff for other people. I mean, we enjoyed playing it, but I'm playing DBA because it's like people play DBA. But if you do all this stuff for people to play DBA and people still don't like DBA, and I understand why, and I truly understand why people do not like DBA, okay? Then I'm just holding myself back from doing shit I really want to do. Like this or the tanks or, whatever. So if you're doing all this stuff and the community still isn't growing to where you think it should, based on the effort that you're putting into it, well, it's time to move on. And that's what I just decided. Like it wasn't enough for me that I'm just filming games with 4 people. And I'm not a tournament player at heart. I never played a tournament game before I played DBA. That's not why I got to that. It was just a way of using my stuff. Why do I want to use my stuff? So I'll be tempted to create more of it. If I'm not using my own stuff, why even have any? I mean, I can paint, so I should. So it's just slightly different. I don't need to thin it that much. And you got a job and you want your hobby to provide some kind of levity, and some nerd burglar just changed the algorithm or the programming on something. It's doing some weird things. There was a new version that was installed. So if you watch my stream and you're like, man, why is it working great this time? Not my fault. Why is it working like shit? The world's largest fart